Sunny day. Daddy Pig was filming his family with a new wide-angle phone. He looked at the screen. At the very edge of the frame, a tall, dark figure was visible. Daddy showed Peppa the photo. The picture was normal, but at the edge, there was a sharp, blurry spot with a couple of bright red dots. He looked at the screen again. The entire screen was filled with a huge, distorted face. Pale, rubbery skin, a huge mouth with tiny, sharp teeth, red eyes. Daddy, horrified, dropped the phone. On the shattered screen appeared the same creepy face, laughing. Black, oily liquid was flowing from the screen. The family froze, looking toward the forest. A tall figure, very thin, long limbs like a spider's, an oversized head with red eyes and a wide grin. Black liquid dripped from its hands onto the grass. The family ran home. The figure took its first step. A black puddle from the broken phone began to grow rapidly. Daddy slammed the front door shut. Peppa and George pressed against Daddy. The terrifying face of the monster was in the window. Black liquid that Daddy accidentally stepped in quickly spread across the living room floor. It contained bubbles and shadows as if something alive was inside. Daddy pulled the children toward the basement stairs. Black liquid had already covered half of the floor. George tripped. Daddy caught him. From the stairs, black liquid was flowing down. It's dark. Only light from the open door upstairs illuminated part of the basement. The family looked upward. From the darkness of the basement came an amorphous shape made of black liquid with a dozen red eyes. This is the core of the monster forming from the liquid. The family pressed against the far wall of the basement. The liquid monster and spider figure cornered them. The door upstairs slammed shut with a bang. Absolute horror and awareness of impending doom. Black liquid already surrounded their feet. The monsters nearly loomed over them. Light from under the door flickered out. From beneath the door, thick black smoke slowly crawled out. In the smoke, two red eyes flashed for a moment and then went out. Miss Rabbit's pharmacy. Peppa walked in. The place was empty. Only the neon signs buzzed softly. Behind the counter stood a porcelain mannequin in a white coat, its face smooth and blank. Peppa approached the counter. Two black slits suddenly appeared on the mannequin's face. Thick black liquid oozed from its mouth. The mannequin reached out a hand. Peppa recoiled. The shelves trembled. Something was moving inside the medicine bottles. Tentacles crawled out from under the counter. They slithered toward Peppa. The pharmacist mannequin stepped out from behind the counter. Its movements were sharp and creaky. A grimace of pain formed on its smooth face. Peppa ran toward the storeroom. A vial fell from a shelf and shattered. From the puddle, black finger-like tentacles grew. Pharmacy storeroom. Darkness. The smell of medicine and rot. Peppa lit up the shelves with her flashlight. Boxes were stained with sticky black blotches. Bandages on the floor squirmed like snakes. The beam caught a figure sitting in the corner. Miss Rabbit, wrapped in sticky black bandages. Her eyes were crusted shut. Her mouth was sewn shut with thick black thread. Miss Rabbit's eyes snapped open. They were hollow black voids. Peppa dropped the flashlight. Tentacles from the bandages grabbed her leg. The pharmacist mannequin stood in the storeroom doorway, smiling. Peppa tore free and ran through the front hall. The bottles on the shelves burst open. Black shadows with red eyes crawled out. A chorus of hissing voices. Glass shattering everywhere. Peppa burst through the door and slammed it shut behind her. Pounding from the other side, the door trembled. She turned to the display window. The glass was coated on the inside with thick black fluid. In the reflection stood Peppa, but behind her, the clear silhouette of the pharmacist mannequin. A tentacle hand reaching toward Peppa's neck in the reflection. Real Peppa touched her neck. It was sticky. Peppa walked into the store. Miss Rabbit was standing by a vending machine fixing something. Pay attention to the mirror on the wall. In its reflection, a different Miss Rabbit. Black eyes, a mouth stretched ear to ear, black liquid dripping from the corners. Peppa said anxiously,
Miss Rabbit, something's not right.
Miss Rabbit approached the mirror. In her reflection, the same terrifying smile. Her face briefly aligned with the reflection. Black eyes, a wide grin.
Trick of the light, haha.
She said casually. Peppa noticed a mirrored jewelry box on the counter. It was empty inside, the bottom made of mirror. But in the mirror of the box, not Peppa's reflection, but writhing black tendrils reaching downward. It wasn't a window, it was a door. Peppa dropped the box and shattered it. Black liquid seeped from the shards, and thin tendrils crawled out of it. They slowly reached for Peppa's legs. Panicked, Peppa ran deeper into the store and leapt into a dark back room, slamming the door shut. On the back wall, a large antique mirror covered with a dusty cloth. The cloth twitched as if someone were breathing behind it. Suddenly, it flew off by itself. In the mirror, not Peppa, but a distorted version of her. Black eyes, a wide, unnatural smile. Tendrils burst from the mirror, gripping the frame. The reflected Peppa reached a hand through the mirror. Her fingers dripped with black liquid. The real Peppa slowly walked forward, eyes wide. She wasn't moving on her own. There was the sound of glass cracking, distorted Peppa laughter, the rustle of tendrils. Peppa stepped out of the back room. She was smiling, but her eyes flashed red for a split second. A black drop slid from the corner of her mouth, a shard of mirror on the floor. In it, the same horrifying reflection of Peppa flickering. Every house has things better left untouched, but sometimes they touch you first. Peppa walked, clutching the rabbit tightly. At the end of the hallway, a closed, dark door. A black puddle seeped from underneath it. Bare footprints led inside. It was waiting, remembering every step. Peppa stood on the threshold. Deep inside loomed a tall figure, the master, with two glowing eyes. This was the room of forgotten things, and he was its keeper. Peppa ran, stumbling. Black tendrils grabbed her ankle. Run! But the house had already decided her fate. The rabbit lay on the floor, its mouth ripped open. We played with your friend. Now it's your turn. The master stood behind Peppa, his steam-like tendrils coiling around her neck. Black vapor poured from her snout, revealing a face within. Stay. Forever. Peppa hid behind a bush. From the shadows, branch-like tentacles reached out. The garden remembers everyone who played here, and everyone who stayed. Peppa's dress lies empty. Beside it, a crown. Only the shell remains. On the swing sits a Peppa doll, a plastic smile, black bead eyes. A new toy for the collection. Black strings stretch from her head and hands toward the house. The strings are taut. The stage is set. On the window, a bloody message. Enter your move. Play with us. Peppa and Pedro were standing by the shelves with children's books. Peppa noticed an old fairy tale book. Its cover shimmered with uneven light. The surface was cold and sticky. The book opened itself. The pages stuck together and became damp. Black letters slid off the pages in a viscous mass. The mass formed insects with thin, shiny legs. The insects crawled onto Peppa's hands. Peppa screamed. She threw the book to the floor. Nearby books began to open one after another. Swarms of black creatures flew out of the books. Pedro was standing by a small bookhouse watching an open book. Letters from its pages detached and crawled onto his hands. A black mass enveloped Pedro's face. He froze in place. A sharp squeal tore through the air, sounding like tearing parchment. The librarian stood at the end of the aisle, her eyes shining unnaturally. Peppa burst into an empty hall. She dove under the nearest table. The librarian's white shoes stopped nearby. Her socks looked directly at her. Peppa froze. The shoes turned away and moved back. Peppa crawled out from under the table. The librarian was standing by a window. Peppa started crawling toward the archive door. She turned around. The librarian turned her head. Her eyes became spinning reels. Distorted letters flickered on film strips within them. Her mouth stretched into a silent scream. Peppa was pulled into the darkness of the storage room. Shelves rose up to the ceiling, towering over her. The air was thick with dust. She pressed against the door, her heart pounding fiercely. At the end of the aisle stood a figure, motionless. Peppa approached. Pedro was facing a shelf, his face covered with black mass that pulsed slowly. Books on the shelves trembled. Pages fluttered wildly. A mask on Pedro's face turned around. Empty eye sockets stared at Peppa directly. She ran toward the exit. The daylight beckoned at the end. She hurried around a corner. Peppa froze. Standing in front of it was the librarian, blocking her way. Her figure was motionless, her reel-like eyes spun slowly, flickering Peppa's name on film. Her mouth stretched into that same voiceless grimace. Black shadows oozed from beneath her skirt, flowing onto the floor like ink. Peppa turned back. Behind her, shadows caught up, wrapping around her legs as cold, sticky mass rose upward. The light from behind the door faded the motionless figure of the librarian, and advancing darkness obscured it completely.
I want to play.
George was playing with toy cars when suddenly one took off, leaving smoky black trails behind it. Headlights blazed bright red. George ran, but his car pursued him. It cut off his path to the door. Distorted children's screams echoed from it. Peppa entered George's room and grabbed one of his cars. The vibration shook her hands fiercely. She threw it against the wall. It shattered into pieces. Black smoke burst out from debris. Tendrils flickered briefly, then retracted back into fragments. The car instantly reassembled itself into one whole piece again. It rolled out into the corridor towards stairs. George followed, his eyes glazed over, staggering. Peppa caught him, but he broke free with a growl.
I want to play.
His voice was hoarse now. She saw a mannequin standing in doorway, motionless, and then that car burst free from his chest and sped toward George himself. George picked up his car. It stuck to his hand as if magnetized. Crimson light enveloped him, his body deformed. Skin grayed, joints twisted unnaturally. Eyes became tiny red points. He turned to Peppa, the new small mannequin now, with his hand still clutching pulsating car glowing red. George emitted an distorted scream again. In horror, Peppa ran to playground equipment, stopping at swings as figures began crowding around her. Dozens of small mannequins with hearts glowing red inside their toy bodies. Tentacles moved on their arms. Mannequin George stepped forward, reaching out, tentacle toward his sister. Peppa backed away, her back pressed against cold porcelain body of another mannequin. The reflection in her eyes showed monsters circling around her and a burning red dot igniting in her own pupil. Peppa went outside to gather leaves. An oppressive silence hung in the air. Roses bloomed near the house, but beyond them, plants lay withered and blackened. The ground beneath Peppa's feet trembled faintly. She hurried to the shed for her rake. Twilight deepened. Shadows cast by trees stretched unnaturally long and twistedly so. A faint metallic screech came from inside the shed. Peppa stumbled as a sticky root covered in rusty slime emerged from the ground near her foot, writhing and reaching toward her boot. She screamed and jumped back, running to the shed. She burst inside into semi-darkness. It smelled of dust, dampness, and old rust. An old shovel hung on the wall. Suddenly, its rusty blade slipped off its hook with a loud clang and plunged into the earthen floor before Peppa. Black, oily liquid seeped from cracks in it. Its wooden handle bent into a curve like a tentacle reaching for her leg. The screech intensified as pitchforks on hooks across from her jerked downward, their metal dripping with dark liquid forming sharp, pulsating spikes beneath them. An axe fell from a wall nearby with a crash, chopping through air beside her as rust-colored ooze flowed down wooden walls like tears. A thick black puddle spread across Peppa's boots beneath her feet. Tendrils made of barbed wire and rotten burlap slowly stretched out from it toward her ankles, writhing like living things. On a high, dusty shelf sat broken garden gnomes. One suddenly turned its head sharply. The clay face cracked open, revealing tiny red dots that flickered briefly before it clumsily jumped down. Peppa slowly stepped out of the shed. Cold tentacles coiled around her ankles from beneath a puddle of black slime. Deformed tools, shovel, pitchforks, axe, advanced toward her slowly with glowing black spikes pulsating ominously. Gnomes approached from another side with unblinking red eyes. Black rust spread over Peppa's boot, turning fabric and skin into gray cold metal. One eye lit up with dull, lifeless red light like that of a gnome, the other wide with horror as shadows and metal closed in around her. Peppa and Susie decided to go to the beach. The clouds were gathering. Waves roared with gloomy thunder, and the wind howled. The girls began building sand castles. Suddenly, they noticed a dark whirlpool in the water, pulling everything around it. Suddenly, the water monster emerged from the water, sinister with shiny scales and creepy, empty eyes. "I've been waiting for you," he said. "I guard this abyss and take everyone to the bottom." This abyss has swallowed many. It takes those who are not afraid of their fears. If you want to learn its secret, you need to throw something precious to you into this abyss. Susie threw her favorite toy into the whirlpool. The water in the abyss splashed, and terrifying faces of lost souls appeared on the surface. Peppa threw her favorite ball, and at that moment, the whirlpool boiled over, swallowing her soul. "You have become part of me. Now you will stay in this abyss forever." Their souls were pulled into watery silence. When they opened their eyes, they found themselves on the dark seabed. They noticed two red eyes watching them from the darkness. Suddenly, a terrifying sea duck jumped out, sharp-toothed and enormous. Peppa thought it looked familiar. The duck transformed into an even more horrifying silhouette that chased them across the seabed. The girls tried to swim faster, but their strength was fading. Suddenly, they spotted a small cave and quickly hid inside. The duck swam past. They caught their breath, but then light appeared behind them again. This time, two green eyes. With a wild scream, they jumped out of the cave. Behind them emerged a huge sea dragon with sharp teeth, long whiskers, and enormous claws. It wrapped its tentacles around them and dragged them into its cave. No one ever saw them again. Peppa and her family decided to go on a trip. They were sitting in the waiting hall. Suddenly, the loudspeaker horn on the pole deformed. The announcement over the loudspeaker was distorted. A deep mechanical growl filled the hall. A huge metallic mouth with sharp teeth gaped on the ceiling. Black, oily liquid dripped from it. The speaker mouth whispered,
Last train arriving at the station.
Peppa pressed into her seat. Her parents did not notice. Suitcases at the passengers' feet moved on their own. Locks glowed red. Thin black tentacles emerged from the gaps, wrapping around people's legs. The family stepped onto the platform. Evening wind. Shadows of people on the asphalt stopped matching their owners. They stretched out, became thinner, and gained tentacles and hooks. The shadow tentacles reached toward rear legs, wrapping around ankles. People froze in place. A train approached. Its windows were a solid, impenetrable blackness. No reflections, no light inside. The doors opened. From the darkness of the carriages came the same mechanical whisper. "The train is waiting." The shadow tentacles suddenly jerked. Several passengers were dragged toward the open doors. They screamed as they were pulled into the darkness. The door slammed shut. The train left, and the platform emptied except for Peppa's family standing at the edge. The speaker mouth on the pole was wheezing. Its metal jaws clamped shut and then opened again. Next, on the rails below, pools of oily liquid darkened and pulsed, taking on distorted faces of missing passengers. Silent screams frozen in time. Shadows on the platform stirred again, reaching for Peppa's family's legs. Cold tentacles wrapped around their shoes. Black drops from the speaker dripped onto Peppa's shoulder, leaving gray stains on her pink skin. From a distant tunnel, two red lights appeared, headlights of a new train approaching silently. Its windows as black as before. Impenetrable darkness. Peppa couldn't move, just like everyone else. Only her eyes reflected the red headlights of the approaching train.